Okay, so the author I chose for my author study was Michael Northrop. I was just looking for mainly an author that I didn't know or I haven't heard of, and so I found him, and his books seemed really interesting. So the first book is Trapped, which was published in 2011. The second book is Rotten, which was published in 2013, and then Surrounded by Sharks, which was published in 2014. Now, I've already done two recommendations on Goodreads about these two books, so I'm just going to do Surrounded by Sharks for this one. So a little bit of background about Michael Northrop was he was born in Salisbury, Connecticut, and then he moved to New York City to attend NYU for his studies. So from 2000 to 2008, he was an editor for the World Almanac and Sports Illustrated Kids. His writing has appeared in many places, including Sports Illustrated Kids, etc. He's the author of 5 books, technically. He wrote a series of books called the Tomb Quest series, and one of the books was called Book of the Dead, and it was nominated as one of the best books for children of the year. He also wrote Gentleman, which was published in 2009, and he wrote then he wrote these 3 books I just mentioned. So technically he's the author of 5 books, and it's crazy to think that I already read 3 out of 5 of those books. The only thing I didn't like about his style of writing was he wrote in sentence fragments a lot, and it's kind of hard to follow the events that occur. However, I still liked the books, and I would recommend it to anyone that likes animals or is interested in the ocean or creatures that live in the ocean, or just anyone who maybe even doesn't like those creatures, because, for example, I don't like sharks at all, and I'm scared of them, but I still really like this book, and I like watching shows that are about sharks and stuff. I would say, besides the sentence fragments, his style of writing is multi-genre, and I would also say, I also want to say, a short summary about the book. It's basically just about a boy named Davy. He's on vacation with his family at a beach. One morning his family is still sleeping, and he's excited to go to the beach. So he leaves his hotel room and goes to the beach, and he ignores the no swimming sign, and he gets in the water, and then the waves start pulling him out to sea, and he ends up getting stranded in the middle of the ocean. And of course there's sharks under the water, and he's basically just trying to survive without getting eaten by the sharks throughout the book until he can get saved by anyone that might happen to see him. Or he gets saved by his family that realizes he's missing and goes on a search for him. So the book is just all about his adventure being stranded in the ocean, and the adventure of his family and others trying to find him. I would say that I would recommend this for maybe like a 5th or a 6th grader. It does have a lot of it's not really a graphic novel, but it's still about sharks, and if it scares a student, they should not read it. But in my opinion, even though I don't like sharks at all, and if I were put in a situation like that, I'd be terrified, but I still really find interest in it. So I would recommend it for a 5th or 6th grader, but in reality though, really any age can read it. I think any age would find this book interesting. And you should definitely read it. There's not one particular order you should read the books in, the 3 books I chose, because they're all unique and they all have their own storyline and plot. But I would recommend reading them in the order that they were published. So first you'd have to read Trapped, and then Rotten, and then Surrounded by Sharks. And if you also read Gentleman, that would have to come first because that was published before Trapped. So I would say read this. If you choose the 3 books that I read this, Trapped, then read Rotten, then read Surrounded by Sharks. But that's just my opinion. But that's how I would recommend reading these books. And I definitely would recommend Michael Northrop to anyone who's just interested in finding books that they've never read before. It worked out well. Thank you for listening. Yeah.